For the past 24 years, I've been a firefighter in Huntington, West Virginia. As firefighters, my team and I are tasked with saving lives and properly from such disasters as car works, house fires, and also life-threatening medical emergencies. I am a woman leading an department in a male-dominated profession, and 10 years ago, I decided to increase my medical knowledge and I received a nursing degree. That was because it became clear that the next big threat facing not only my city but other cities around the country was not the one and done disaster where you can ride in like cavalry as a firefighter, put out the fire, and leave feeling like you have made differences and everything is okay. The next big disaster in my city was and is the long, debilitating, and lethal disaster known as opioid addiction. We now call this a health epidemic, and we have replaced the name addiction with substance and use the divorce. To give you some perspective of how significant that this epidemic has become. In 2017, in my county, of 95,000 people, we saw 1,831 overdoses, 183 deaths from overdose. This is the job of my firefighter as well as other agencies to respond to that. Excuse me. So, watching this epidemic unfound for several years, I developed some feeling. For this disaster, we need to redefine our job as a first responder. We need to be more than just cavalry. We need to do more than just save a life. We need to find a way to rebuild that life. And it's going to take a lot of people to do that. And that is exactly what we are trying to do in Huntington, Virginia. Now, let me give you some insight as to what we do. This is what happens when somebody overdoses. Imagine you are somebody who is of addiction. You are fragile, you are impressed, you are shamed, and you overdose. Maybe a friend or family member call 911, and then all of a sudden you're awakened by 5 or 6 those total stranger in uniform and rubbing your stomach and saying, wake up, you overdosed, you could die. Would you not defend and angry? Because I know I would be. And on top of that, those strangers gave you a dose of fun, which has sent you into what is better known as dope sickness. Dope sickness make you feel, some say it's like a flu times 10. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, body aches, So not only did we, a stranger, wake you up, but we also you feel really sick. So in turn, you the patient are not going to be very kind to us, and you're going to refuse physical medical treatment. Well, that's going to philosophate, and we're going to be mad because you're ungrateful that we just saved your life. This is not a good dynamic here. So, um, what we're dealing with in a brain disorder that changes your thinking. It convinces you to don't have a problem. So this might have been not only first time you've overdosed, and might have been the third, fifth, or fifth that we partially have avoided you. This is a not good situation. Second, first responders do not receive much education on what substance use disorder is. Neither does medical medical community. We're not trained how to deal with those suffering from substance use. I'm trained to put out many different types of fires. I'm trained to save a life in the moment. But I'm not trained to deal with political interaction between the first responders and healthcare community, social differences, services, and wider community that would necessary to save a life long term. Thirdly, and this and this hits home. I consider myself carefully. We want in shining arming. We want to soup in do our job, living the with making difference. That just doesn't happen where we're doing somebody who didn't use the solar. We live feeling the first and useless. We deal with the same people over and over again with no positive over outcome. And you only want at some point I realized that it is up to a first responder and as a community to solve this problem, to find better ways to deal with those that are suffering. So what I did, I started observing more in overdoses. I started talking and listening to my patients. I wanted to know what I led them to where they are, what exactly are they, what makes their situation worse, what makes their situation better. I began experimenting with my words and paying attention to my own actions, I how it affected those my patients. The education that I have received and continue to receive on the street level in Honey Tank has been both eyes opening and life changing to me. So in Honey, West Virginia, we have come together as a community and we're changing the way that we do those who suffer from the disease. We have started many programs and it's making a difference. I'll tell you about just a few of those. Last year, we started a quick response team, QRC for short. The team consists of a paramedic, a police officer, somebody in the recovery community, and somebody in first community. As a team, they go out to and visit people who have overdosed within 7 to hours of recitation. They talk, they listen, they build and report with that patient, and they right now about 30% or up to those quick response team have reached out, have accepted some form of help. And wonderful thing about this is first responders who are involved in this team, they actually feel like can make a difference, positive change, and where wasn't isn't there. This year, this year we opened a freestanding specialty clinic called Protect for those suffering from substance use disorder. It's one stop shop, if you will. A patient comes in, they're immediately assessed by somebody who's addiction specialist. They worked with them to provide them based on their own needs, individual needs. This does several things for us. It gives first responder and place either take our or refer our patient who are no longer in life-threatening situation that have refused to go the hospital, and it also clears up the overclaimed emergency rooms in hospital. The third thing that I want to tell about is very dear to me and very important to my team. We recently started a first responder self-care program. More for first responder are experiencing combustion thing, and it's not uncommon for the average firefighter in Heineken to deal with or see up to 5 young deaths per month. These are the friends, these are their classmates. So this much needed program will not only recognize their hard work, it's going to give them a voice. It's going to provide them with training that will help, and it will give them a more medical health push that they desperately need. We now have a young classmate in 5 stations.